Finally, a long-awaited grip build on the channel, man. This one isn't perfect, but I was able to do pretty decent with it, so if you guys could please enjoy this gameplay, man. You can easily turn this thing up to C5 as well, so if you guys would like to see that in a future build, feel free to let me know. There's some adjustments you might want to make, but you can just go ahead and literally just throw a turbo in it and turn up the boost to the point where it's C5, 349, and you guys can do really well with this on the track. And you can also throw a sport turbo in it, do some adjustments, and get it to C4 as well. Been waiting a little bit for another C4 time trial to come up, and then we'll definitely tune this thing for that, because it felt pretty good in that class. C5, I just felt a little slow, but I'm super proud of what I was able to do in the C3 class with this build. Let me know if you guys enjoy it, and we went through a lot of different setups with this car. I was convinced I could get this thing to a top 10 time. I didn't care what I had to do. We did end up ditching the rear-wheel drive and the stock 2J, but it turned out to work out for us, and I'm a little upset I couldn't make it work with either of those. Rear-wheel drive, I was able to snag a top 15 time, but in order to get all-wheel drive with this big old car into the top 10, I was having to swap to all-wheel drive and use the RS20. But I'm not too mad about it, because the MxgicIQ Supra did use a 4-cylinder motor. Now, I don't know if they have that same one in this game, but hey, it's a 4-cylinder wide-body MxgicIQ Supra, and we got it into top 10 in the C3 class, man. Definitely some driver error on that run. We could probably pick up a 122 and get a little bit deeper into the top 10, but overall, I'm super proud of it. Let's see what you guys can do with this build, man. Let's get into the breakdown. Alrighty, you guys, now that we're in the tuning shop, man, I'm really proud of this car. It took a while to get it here. I know it's not the fastest yet, but I'm still super proud of it. But regardless, man, let's talk about the drivetrain, body, and engine swaps first. So you're going to put a RS20 in here first things first. Then you're going to put the 6-speed gearbox in here. And then when it comes to the body, what you're going to do first is you're going to put the weight reduction to the ultimate. You're going to put it as low as you can possibly get it, and then you're going to swap the body. And what this is going to do is, as you see here, if I just move it over one click to the right and back, it's going to be an extra 20 kg you're able to get off the car. So that's almost mandatory for this build, as well as the motor you're going to see in a second is completely maxed out. We're not using a gas tank on this one, and we're using only front aero, no rear aero. Our front aero is maxed out, and air resistance is 1.95, and I put a little bit more weight over the front tires when I was doing some rear wheel drive stuff, but it also felt decent in all wheel drive. I could probably mess with the weight distribution a little bit more, but I'm trying to promote as much oversteer in this build as possible, because all wheel drive is just inherently understeer heavy, unless you engine brake down to first as well. So there's that. But let's get into the engine parts. So we're ultimate everything except for no turbo. We're NA on this build, so stock turbo, aka completely NA, because the RS20 does not even come with a turbo. So you guys are going to see here in a second when we go to tune. All ultimate parts. We're using no prototype parts on this build, and we're also using no engine swaps that you can't get outside of the base menu, but we could buy a Civic Type R and put that motor in here, since I heard that was meta, so maybe we'll do some builds with that in the future. But everything's maxed out here, pumped up all the way to maximum. And then we're going to go to the drivetrain. After you've swapped in that T50S 6-speed gearbox, what you're going to do is put an ultimate clutch, a viscous 60, because I don't know how to tune the elite clutch or the ultimate clutch yet. Hopefully we'll figure that out with those diffs eventually. But the transmission's also ultimate, and we are all-wheel drive with this build. So unfortunately, I already know you guys are gonna be like, why is a Supra all-wheel drive? Because it's freaking meta. Okay, now if you want to promote more oversteer, you can go rear-wheel drive. You can still get a decent time with it. I was able to snag top 15 with the rear-wheel drive setup, but it's just, you know, it's very oversteer happy, which is a good thing if you can't get oversteer to happen, because I read a lot of people are understeering. But if you're understeering with all-wheel drive, just know all-wheel drive is just inherently understeer heavy, okay, even in real life. Gear shifting speed, obviously minimum 50 and 55 on the diff locking front and rear. Okay, so front is 50, rear is 55. I bet there's some improving I can do there. I don't really know how to tune diffs for all-wheel drive. Usually my rear-wheel drive diffs just at 55 to 45, because the homie Blue told me to do that. Final drive here is 4.11. You guys can read all of these other diameters here, or metrics. You guys can read these numbers and copy them, okay? Drivetrain loss is obviously as low as possible. What I did here was just make it so first gear was short enough to spin the wheels a little bit to give it a little bit more speed, but not too long to where it was just bogging out, okay? And obviously nitrous helps along with that as well. And then everything else just shifts smoothly. Alright, let's get into the body transfer here. Let's go ahead and take a look at these tunes. Right here we're obviously minimum weight with the little trick I showed you guys at the beginning. If you guys want any more tips and tricks, be sure to check out Extra. He's got a ton of them. Center of mass here is as low as possible. Downforce maxed out. You guys already took a look at that when we were going over the little tips and tricks on the body swap. Ultimate weight reduction before. Okay, now here for the suspension, what we're going to do is we're obviously going to max everything out first off. If you guys weren't aware, everything is ultimate. I could put prototype stuff on here, but I left it all ultimate to be as easily accessible as possible and show that you can 100% get top 10 with all ultimate parts. I could probably shave off way more time, well, not way more, but if I had prototype downforce and prototype brakes and things like that, it'd probably make it a lot better, because this thing does kind of suck at stopping. But I was so invested in this car, oh my god, as you guys saw probably from the first stream when we were doing the GT3 and JGTC stuff. So these are all of the other, things you guys can copy here. As far as explaining what is going on, I suggest you guys check out Steps suspension guide, because I basically followed what he said, but you guys can really just read the guidelines and what they do. I made the car a little bit stiff in the front, but definitely a little looser in comparison to the rear, so the rear end feels more happy to kick out. Okay, and then for the camber, obviously put more in the front because I want the front to grip more in the corners than the rear. Okay, and then the toe, I left it as close to zero as possible on both front and rear. And then the caster is as low as possible, just for more freedom of steering, and there's no self-steer, so it kind of inherently battles oversteer in that way, or battles understeer a little bit. Ackerman angle like 85, steering angle's 50. You don't want too much steering angle and you don't want too little. You want to be able to get around those corners, but you don't want it to be like you're drifting, because then it just won't corner as fast. For the dampers here, I made them a little bit softer since we are on the toe again. I'm trying to grab those gutters. Okay, and apparently in a recent update, you want to make the dampening or just the suspension a little bit softer in general. We do have that rear as stiff as possible, just because I'm trying to get it stiff in the rear. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get some oversteer. Okay, stiff spring here. A little bit softer, like I said, on the dampers. The front is softer than the rear, and that just feels good to me. It's not a bad car. I really like it, dude, and it's been fun trying to figure out how to get this thing to top 10. Okay, I'm definitely not knowing if I'm going to hold that spot, but I'm rather proud of it as of right now. For obviously the tuning here, you're going to do 3 bar always, no matter what, and then this is the offset for the front and rear. Now for the wheels, we are using 305 20s on the front and 325 25 20s on the rear. We're going to bump both of those up to a 30 sidewall. You guys can check the component features top right to see exactly what everything is and just match your numbers up similarly. Your numbers will be different if you don't have the CBW wide body kit, okay, as far as the wheel offset and stuff goes, so just keep that in mind. We're +5 racing on both. I don't know if there's a difference with using stretch tires. I just don't use them, okay? I have no idea if there's a difference or not, but if you want to use stretch tires, go right on ahead. You can do the +10, probably get a little bit more out of it, and it doesn't look that goofy, so you guys can do that. I'm just a fan of the thick old tires, okay? And that's just my personal preference, man. This is my first ever grip tune on this channel for this game, and I'm pretty happy about it. It's not terrible, it works, and I was able to snag a top 10 time with it, meaning, I know the leaderboards aren't all that competitive right now anymore. I know a lot of drivers have gone and left, but I know on console, the times on PC are still faster, so if I can accomplish this time on PC with this car, you guys could probably do pretty well with it on console and definitely snag yourself at least a top 25 to top 50 times. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been a grip build, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Thank you guys for all the knowledge you guys have passed on to me in the stream, and it's been a ton of fun, and I hope to be able to share a full-length video detailing what I've learned with you guys. So without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. It's been MxgicIQ, and I'm out. Peace.